what in your life that if you just said, listen, here's 4 or 5 things that I need to begin to start implementing into my life, that I need to start getting into rhythm with, that if I did them every single day, would literally begin to start creating growth in that particular area. All right. Well, welcome back to the Champion Life Podcast. I'm Curt Tucker. And today, friends, I've got a good one for you. Here's the deal. One of the things that I know that's so important in life when we're trying to go from point A to point B to the next level is having a rhythm. And as I was in a mastermind this past week, my coach was talking a lot about his life rhythm. And he was talking about how these are the things that I've essentially done almost for over 30 years in the critical areas of his life, that he can reverse back and look over the last 30 years of his life and say that these things right here are what has allowed me to do life at such a high level. So today, I want to talk to you about what's your rhythm. Like when you think about your day and what makes you your very best, what would you say those things are? If I asked you, hey, tell me the 5 or 10 things that you do on a daily basis that make you your best, what would you say? See, one of the things I think about is more than likely we're doing 5 to 10 things every single day that are getting us a particular result. So a lot of times, what I'll ask coaching clients of mine is, well, once we identify a particular goal, for instance, because there's really 3 key things when you think about goal setting that you want to focus on. There's the what do you want? There's the why do you want it? Why is it important to you? What's the purpose behind it? And then there's the how are you going to accomplish the goal? And many times we can't always have full control over the outcome of the goal, right? But we certainly can have full control over the reasons why it's important to us and what are we going to do on a daily basis to get that goal. And many times the things that ultimately are going to help us get to that goal, are going to be the things that we're doing on a daily basis from the moment that we get up to the moment that we go to bed. So what I want to talk to you today about is rhythm. I want to talk today about, what is it that you're doing on a daily basis that at the end of the day, is it getting you a result or not? Okay, so I want you to think about this, is when you wake up, what do you do? What is your morning rhythm? What does your morning routine look like? Do you get up to an alarm? Do you hit the snooze button 1 time, 2 times, 5 times? Do you immediately wake up and check your social media? See who called you from the night before, what messages came in, social media, whatever the case scenario? Or do you take 1 or 2 minutes before you roll out of bed and pray and give God thanks, and just set your intention and your tone for the day? See, friends, I believe that, just that little change right there, just the first 60 to 90 seconds of your day could literally put you on a completely different path, like a fork in the road, right? I can go left, I can go right. The moment my alarm clock goes off, do I hit the snooze button and go back to sleep, or do I turn the alarm off? And before I get out of bed, before I turn my phone off or check my social media or my emails or phone or messages or whatever, I just take 60 seconds and I give God thanks for 3 things in my life, literally going into an attitude of gratitude before you even move out of the bed. See, one of the things that I do, and this is a part of my rhythm, what we're talking about, is before I move out of bed, after I turn, the alarm off. Many times I wake up before the alarm, so it doesn't matter, but I will just say a prayer, 2 or 3 things that I'm grateful for, and then I will put my hand on my wife, because generally I get up before her, and I will just put my hand on her and I will pray for her before I roll out of bed. See, men, one of the things that I believe is the best thing that we can do, one of the strongest things, one of the most spiritual things that we can do as a leader, as a husband, is pray for our spouse and with our spouse every single day. So within the first 2 minutes of me starting my day, I have already prayed to God, give him thanks before I roll out of bed with gratitude, and I'll just put my hand gently on my wife, Rachel, and I'll just give God thanks for her, and I'll pray a blessing over her, and I'll pray for 3 things specifically. And it is this, friends. I pray for God's protection, God's direction, and God's correction in her life. Think about that for a second, by the way, friends. Why would I want God to direct my wife every single day? Because she has a purpose, she has a mission, and I want to make sure that he is directing her on how she can utilize her time, her talents, her treasures the best to serve God, right? Why would I want his protection over her? Because I can't be with her 24/7, right? We are called as husbands, as leaders, to be our wife's protectors. It's one of their greatest needs. But I can't be with her 24/7. So I'm going to call upon the Lord to protect her throughout her day, to be with her when I can't be with her. And that might be protecting her mind. That might be protecting her body. That could be protecting her as she's driving. I mean, a hedge of protection, just like every flight before we take off, I always pray a hedge of protection around the plane as we travel, right? So I'm praying for a hedge of protection around her. And yes, the last one is correction, because men, we know that majority of the time when we try to correct our spouses, whether it's, your wife or your husband, listeners, most of the time the correction does not work. So what I want to do is I want to pray for correction for my wife, that the Lord would handle that for me. So anyhow, that's a part of my rhythm, right? So if you had to take a look at your life right now and say, what does the first 5 minutes of my day look like? The moment that the alarm goes off, or the moment that I wake up in the morning, what does the first 5 minutes look like? What do you do? Write it down and really ask yourself the question, is the first 5 minutes of my day setting me up to succeed? Or am I doing some things right now that at the end of the day, it's not really serving me? Okay. So what does your morning rhythm look like? I'll share with you a couple other things that I do. The moment that I wake up, I do everything that I just talked about. And then I'm into the bathroom, hand on the heart, looking at myself in the mirror and saying, good morning, Curt Tucker. You're a champion. I love you. I believe so much in speaking to the man or the woman in the mirror. First thing, giving yourself a smile, telling yourself that you love yourself. Okay. And that's not a prideful thing. The reality is, friends, is if you can't learn to love yourself and you're always searching for love in all the other places, you're going to get let down. So I believe that we have to learn to love ourselves. We have to learn to like ourselves. We have to learn to encourage ourselves. And by the way, this wasn't always natural for me. This is something that I've had to learn over the years to say, man, this is an area that I need to step up in. So I then many times will jump in a cold shower for 3 minutes. Let me tell you something, that will wake you up and get you ready for the day. Okay. Then I'll go down and I'll make 30 ounces of lemon water, with a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and a little bit of Baja Gold mineral salt. Drink that down as I get some coffee brewing. And then I'll head up to my office where I begin my devotion time. Now, if you follow me or you've listened to my podcast for a while, you know that I have a very specific, what I like to call hour of power morning routine that I do every single morning. And I'm not going to go deep into that. There's another podcast episode that you can go. We'll actually put that in the notes where you can get to that episode. But I'll just share with you a couple of things that I do each morning and why they're important to me. So obviously, the first thing when I get into my office is prayer and devotion and journaling. For the last 15 years, that's been a part of my life every single morning, where I take that time to have some quiet time with the Lord, to get into the Word, to read a proverb a day, to break that proverb down and figure out how does that need to be applied to my life for that particular season, that day, or whatever the case scenario is. I'll give you an example, friends. This morning, as I did my Bible study and I was sending a message to the family group text between my wife and our 4 kids and then our son-in-law and daughter-in-law, I just gave them an encouragement from Proverbs chapter 22, verse 1. And that verse was just talking about the significance of your name, and essentially that your name is true wealth. Your name, what does your name stand for? Because at the end of the day, I want our name, the Tucker name, to be a name that it's tied to a legacy. Like when people think of myself, when they think of my wife Rachel, when they think of our family, they say that's a family that served the Lord. That's a family that was out there loving and serving and wanting to actually make a difference in the world and impact people for the kingdom of God. And so I just sent that in the family, chat this morning in the group text, letting my family know I love them. I'm humbled and honored to lead them. And I wanted to encourage them with that verse, right? And so I have some journal time, some meditation, visualization, gratitude, I am statements, things of that nature. And then I will flow into time with my wife, Rachel, where we come together, we pray together, we do sometimes a devotion, but literally that takes 5 or 10 minutes. That's literally just setting a cadence for the morning, a rhythm, if you will, where we are now communicating and talking about our day and talking about, hey, what do you have going on? Can I share something with you? That if you are busy, if you are an entrepreneur, if you have kids, especially younger kids, but even if you have kids that are teenagers and they're in high school, because sometimes I think as much as it was crazy for us when our kids were young, it was just as crazy when they were in high school and they were involved in all kinds of different sports and we had to be here and do this and do that and our businesses were cranking. So I really believe that no matter what season you're in, it's all about creating a rhythm. So now all of a sudden, you don't even have to think about the majority of the time, the things that are most important that you need to do. You just do them. It's like a dancer. Once you master a dance and you understand the rhythm, you understand the steps, you understand your partner, you can just get out there and dance without even thinking about it. Because at the end of the day, once you've done something so many times, it just becomes a part of who you are and what you do. And that's the reason why consistency is so important in doing something over and over and over again. For many of you, you know that I've been on this 100 push-up a day kick since October 1st, right? Where I just made a decision that I'm going to do 100 push-ups a day, every single day, no matter what. It doesn't matter whether I'm doing a leg workout that day, an upper body workout, it's a rest day, whatever the case scenario is, I'm going to do 100 push-ups every single day. And so in the very beginning, I thought to myself, well, I'll just do, maybe 25 in the morning and 25 at noon and 25 around like 5 o'clock and 25 at 9 o'clock and just space it out throughout the day. And as I began to start looking at my day and looking at everything I had going on, one thing I realized was, listen, if I set it up that way, I'm going to forget to do maybe the evening ones, the afternoon ones, or whatever. So I decided, hey, listen, when I'm going to do my 100 push-ups, is it either going to be a part of my daily workout? That's a rhythm, okay? Or if I'm not going to be weight training that day, I'm going to do a walk in the morning for at least 15 or 20 minutes, and I'm going to do the 100 push-ups right then and there, 4 sets of 25. Now, I can do more than 25 push-ups. Actually, this morning when I was at the gym, just for the heck of it, just to see how many I could do, my first set, I ripped out 50. But I'm going to stay with the 25 push-ups. And because it's not about how many push-ups I can do, it's about the consistency of doing those 100 push-ups or those 4 sets of 25 every single day, and knowing that it literally takes me about 30 seconds to do 25 push-ups. And so at the end of the day, within 5 minutes, if I do a set of push-ups, take a 30-second to a minute break, do another, I can do those 100 push-ups in 5 minutes or less every single day. So I want you to think about this, friends. What in your life that if you just said, listen, here's 4 or 5 things that I need to begin to start implementing into my life, that I need to start getting into rhythm with, that if I did them every single day, would literally begin to start creating growth in that particular area, right? So I've given you a couple examples. What if as soon as you woke up in the morning, your first 5 minutes of your day, of your morning, you prayed, you gave God thanks, for 3 things that were great in your life, starting your day off positive, and you reached over and you put your hand on your spouse and you prayed over them. Within the first 5 minutes of your day, do you think that that would impact your life spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and even relationally in your marriage? I 100% know it would. So that's 5 minutes. What if, for my men out there, you did 100 push-ups every single day? Even for the ladies, this is possible. I just watched my wife the other day in the gym be cranking out push-ups. And I almost think she's thinking about, hey, I should be doing 100 push-ups a day. But maybe for the women, it's 100 squats and it's 4 sets of 25 squats. The point is that's just 10 minutes of your day right there that you could flow into rhythm, just the first 5 minutes of your day, and then in your exercise. And look at that. In 10 minutes of your day, look at how much you would accomplish in just that short period of time. See, friends, one of the gifts that I believe that God has given me is the ability to take complex things and break them down and simplify them. Because I love what my pastor Andy says. We can get all the information, but without application, there is no transformation. So we need to take this information, apply it to our lives, and that's when we're get the transformation. But many times we have to make it simple for ourselves so that we don't overcomplicate it. We don't make it harder than it is, so we take action. I'm going to give you one more rhythm thing that I do on a daily basis, and it's this. I always identify the 3 most important things that need to be done from a business standpoint, from an entrepreneur standpoint, that are going to drive the ball down the field, that are going to get me closer to the goals that I've set for myself in the areas of finances and generating more revenue and income or investing or whatever the case scenario is. Okay. Literally things that I say, listen, in 90 minutes or less, okay, maybe 2 hours maximum, I can get these 3 things done. And many times, friends, I put my phone on do not disturb. I block out all distractions, because we all know that distractions can come in many different ways, right? For me, it comes from my 8-pound Yorkie Poo Lion Maverick. It comes from, my son Carson. Dad, help me with this, help me with that. Any person that walks by our home, text messages. I turn off the do not disturbs that are attached to my computer. Just like before I started recording this podcast, I turned them off so that you don't hear dings and dongs while I'm doing this podcast. But and that's what we call pre-deciding, right? That's what we call prior proper planning prevents poor performance. Where when we think ahead, and many times I'll take 10 minutes a day at the beginning of my day and I'll say, okay, I'm going to plan out my day. Once again, what are the most important things that I need to do today in each area of my life, that at the end of the day, if I don't get anything else done, if I get these things done, I'm going to feel good about myself. I'm going to feel good about the production that I did, because busyness is not productivity. Many times we can get busy doing a lot of stuff that doesn't matter, right? So, just in the last couple months of me prioritizing some of the things that I'm talking about with you today, it has been an absolute game changer. So here's what I want to encourage you to do, friends, is take a second, look at your morning, look at maybe your work day, look at even your evening with your family, and say, what are a couple things that I need to implement that I need to get a new rhythm, that I need to switch out some things and say, I'm no longer going to do this, but I'm going to go and I'm going to do that. That at the end of the day, if you switch those things out and you do those things for, say, a day, a week, maybe even a month, will be an absolute game changer in your life. Now, I do want to go ahead and make this one little caveat, okay, is if you're a person that struggles with being consistent in things, you may need some accountability. When I talk to people who I coach, I always say that we need three things. Most of us need three things. One, we need clarity. Sometimes we need a lot of help on just getting clear on what our vision for our life is. What goals do we want to really, truly go after? Things that are going to drive us and get us excited about life, right? After we get clarity, then there comes the strategy. You might be struggling with the particular strategies to get you to the goal. I can tell you that when I hired a specific crypto coach about a month and a half ago and made that investment in him, there was some things that I was focusing on, that I was working on, but I was unclear exactly on how to make what I wanted to make happen. And he shared some insight with me. He gave me a couple ideas. He created some strategy, and he said, okay, now the third step, and the thing that where I was alluding to, is you might need some accountability. And he said, listen, before we come back and we talk in 2 weeks, these are the things that you're going to need to get done, because if you don't take action on these things, nothing's going to happen. Friend, can I share something with you? That one shift that he made me do, that we talked through, that he gave me insight on, okay, and I implemented it within the next 2 weeks, and the timing was important, all right, literally made me over probably $20,000 in the last 2 weeks. Just that one little shift. Here I was thinking, how am I going to hire him as a coach? We're already making this commitment to this marriage mastermind, and we got this going on. And one of the things that I believe in is this statement right here. It's never for a lack of resources, it's resourcefulness. See, the reality is I couldn't afford not to get that wisdom that I needed from him to be able to implement the strategy that I didn't know that I needed to do what I needed to do, that in less than 2 weeks made me over $20,000 on that one particular investment. So sometimes you might need clarity. Sometimes you might need particular strategies. And then sometimes you might just need accountability. You might know exactly what you need to do, but if you're struggling doing it, right? I had one of my clients this past week who said, man, it's so crazy how just me sending you what I'm eating and working out 2 or 3 days a week has changed, what I've been doing on a weekly basis for my health. And how far I've come. And he said, I just can't believe it. It's like, I know what I need to do, but just knowing that I'm going to send it to you has been a game changer. So you might need one of those three things: clarity, strategy, or accountability. And if you do, DM me the word coach. Would love to sit down with you, take you through a breakthrough call, share with you a little bit more of what I do, and find out where you're at and how I might be able to help you get to that next direction or that next goal. But here's the deal, friends, is it's all about rhythm. It's all about every single day having a game plan, knowing what you want, why you want it, and then most importantly, being in rhythm, doing those 5 or 10 things. I'll tell you, it's 5 or 10 things most of the time that I see that take 5 minutes or less for most people on those particular things that are absolutely game changers. So friends, I want to encourage you today. Think about your rhythm. What does the rhythm of your day, what does the routine of your day look like? What are the things that you're doing that are getting you the results that you're getting, good or bad? Because once we become self-aware on the things that we're doing, okay, or the things we're not doing and the results that we're getting, now we can look at our life. We can take that 30,000 foot view, if you will, and say, man, I like this, but I need to make some changes here. And I hope that just a couple of the rhythms that I do on a daily basis, the couple of things that I've shared with you today, you will implement. I hope that they'll be beneficial for you. I hope that that they'll help you go next level in your marriage, praying for your spouse, or highlighting the top 2 or 3 things that you need to do on a daily basis in your business or your career, that if you just knock those out, it'll be an absolute game changer. See, I firmly believe that we can double our income and our time off in 90 days or less. I've always had that mindset whenever I've got focused, whenever I needed to really dial in. And there's some things that I've done to make that happen. So I want to encourage you today, friends, as we're itching towards 2025. A new year is right around the corner, and hopefully a new year means a new you. Okay. Also, Champions Unite coming up with Dustin Bauer in Dayton, Ohio is going to be an incredible event. Look for the link in the notes as well. And I tell you what, friends, there is nothing like getting in the room with other people. If you want to take your rhythm to the next level, get around other higher level people who are in rhythm, who are making things happen. Rachel and I had that experience this past week as we flew out to Durango, California, and met with Keith Craft and his wife and a lot of other high-level entrepreneurs, and spent 3 days with them, where we said, man, these people are in rhythm. These people have something about the way that they go about their life and their days that are creating success at a high level. And I want more of that. So I want more of that for myself, friends. I want more of that for you, for your family, because at the end of the day, friends, what we're after here is what I like to call a champion life, a life of abundance, a life of freedom, a life of victory, where you're winning in every single hour, every single minute, every single day of your life in every single area. So, hey, friends, let's get in rhythm together, all right? So we can keep on winning. And you know what? I love you. I'll see you on the next episode. God bless.